I have found a new way of parenting that is definitely not the easiest way to parent. It's taking some time, and I'm sure it's going to be a lifelong journey. But today I'm sharing with you the 6 principles of gentle parenting and what that entails and how it looks like as a mum of 4. So if this sounds interesting to you, stay tuned, give it a big thumbs up because it really does support my channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe and tap that bell to get notified when we upload every Monday and Thursday, and let's get into it. Parenting is one of the most stressful 24-hour jobs. It is relentless, and yes, there are so many positives about being a parent, but today I'm focusing on the things that can really stress us out, and that is the hamster wheel where we get stressed and frustrated because our kids are having tantrums and feeling these big emotions, and what can you do about it, because it just seems like you're in that constant cycle and it's so hard to break out of. To begin with, let's discuss what gentle parenting is, because even for myself as a mom of 6 years, I had heard this terminology but never really looked into it because I thought that it was a parenting style that gave into your kids, and it wasn't the style that I thought was going to raise children the way that I thought they needed to be raised. But now that I have 4 of them, it is something that I desperately started researching, was parenting styles, and this one really is amazing. I know that as a teacher, fear-based parenting only works for so long neurologically, and that led me to ask the question, what is going to help me parent in the long run? What is going to get me through the teenage years? And this is the answer. Gentle parenting is looking at how you parent. It's something where you really have to keep your emotions in check because you are the emotional anchor for your child. And now that I have a 6, 4, 20-month-old and a 4-month-old, I can see the fact that, especially for my little kids, they are feeling these big emotions for the first time. And even though it can be frustrating to witness and receive it, it is my job as a parent to help guide them, give them emotional intelligence, and help them with their resilience. The more I've looked into it, the more I understand the fact that all feelings are acceptable, but not all behavior is. And having a gentle parenting approach doesn't mean that your kids get away with anything. There are boundaries and there are rules that happen in our household, and we are kind but firm. I also understand that all communication is a feeling and all feelings communicate a need. Whether my 20-month-old is having a tantrum because he is just dysregulated from exhaustion, or my 6-year-old is giving me attitude because something has happened, they are communicating things to me, and it's not my job to get offended by them, to think that it's a personal fight against me and that they're purposely trying to make my life difficult, because they aren't. They are just trying to figure out their emotions and how to evaluate it and proceed forward. And the only way they can do that is with me, their parent. 6 principles that help you to connect, not correct your child. And these really have made a difference in our family. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how this goes as our kids get older and get especially into those teenage years. The first principle is respect. There are so many ways that we use our words as parents that can manipulate them, degrade them, embarrass them, put them in their place. And I know that I am definitely guilty of doing that. And it is something that I will continually be working on, because when things happen, I need to make sure that I am showing them how to process emotions and that I'm not just reacting out of how they've made me feel. I am going to respect them, and a way that we're doing that here in our household is that we are focusing on the 1 Corinthians Bible verse of love, and the fact that love is respectful, it's kind, it's patient, it doesn't boast. And that Bible verse being our anchor as a family is really helping us to be respectful in words, but also in our actions towards one another. It's definitely something that is taking a shift in our household to realign with the fact that we are going to be respectful both ways. And it's not the fact that we were putting them in their place and their voice wasn't heard to begin with, but there was definitely that authoritarian parenting approach of because I've said so, rather than allowing for negotiation and respecting that they have a voice and feelings at all times. And like I said, there are always going to be boundaries, but we are going to be respectful in the way that we communicate with them in order for them to be respectful back to us. The second principle of gentle parenting is validating feelings. This is something that is neurologically backed up by science, is the fact that you are not going to be able to process a situation if you haven't calmed that primitive side of their brain that is fight or flight. So getting down onto your child's level and validating those big emotions, and depending on their age, you can also then attach the description of what they are feeling, whether that be frustration, anger, jealousy, tiredness in a toddler. All of those big emotions you are going to be able to connect with. A great quote that I have recently read is, "It's all about riding the wave and not calming the storm." Sometimes we feel as parents, stop crying and stop doing this, but really getting down on that level and connecting with them and riding out that wave until it becomes peaceful takes time, it takes effort, and it really does mean that you have to work through your emotions as well. But I have found when coaching our kids to breathe through frustration and anger, it actually helps me to breathe and regulate as well. And them seeing me do it gives them permission, I guess, that they can do it as well. I'm not going to judge them for it. Which leads me to number 3, is allow your kids to make mistakes. Now that we have 4 children, we can't supervise them 24/7, and I always have a listening ear out, especially when the older girls are in the playroom and they're negotiating. And yes, there's going to be a winner and a loser. Someone's going to be happy, someone's going to be upset, but listening to them know when to push and when to just ease up a little bit really does help. And it helps for me not to get in it, because these are skills that they're learning within the house that they're going to take into the playground. We also use a strategy called the high five strategy, which is really great at getting the kids to not draw us as parents into the situation straight away, and giving them some strategies on how to cope, especially when someone else is doing something to them that they don't like. And when our kids make choices, especially on playground equipment, we don't correct them, we don't instill fear by saying, "Don't do that, you're gonna get hurt." We ask them, do you feel safe? Is that a good choice? And if they have done the risk management and they believe that they are, then we allow it to be. If they are going to break a rule though, that's when we remind them of the boundary and we ask them to do what we want them to do. We don't say, "Stop climbing up on top of the swing set." We turn around and say, "Swing sets are for swinging, let's hop down onto the swing please, or you can climb the fort." And we give them that option. So I'm not telling them what I don't want them to do, I'm communicating what I would like them to do, which is respectful towards them. Fourth principle is consequences. These are either going to be natural consequences or correlated consequences. And this really did help me to sit well with this style of parenting, because as a teacher, I guess coming from that classroom situation where you have 30 kids in front of you, if they break a school rule, there is that consequence. So it is part of life. And when we get to work, if we don't hand something in on time, or if we don't get that job done, there is going to be a consequence. So with gentle parenting, a natural consequence could be the fact that, say our daughter doesn't want to wear her jumper and she's going to have a meltdown over it, we'll say to her, "Okay, if you don't want to wear your jumper now, that's fine. We will take it to the park with us, and if you need it, let me know." I will then observe her while she is playing, and if I feel like it is getting too chilly, or if she's demonstrating that her body is getting cold, I will then offer it to her. Otherwise, she can always ask it of me. Then with correlated consequences, I'm going to follow the 3R principle, which means that the consequence needs to be related, reasonable, and respected. So if Finn was hitting me with a toy, I'm going to respectfully say to him, "That's hurting mama, I need you to stop please." If he does it again for a reaction, I might redirect him to a softer toy or a different way to play with that toy. If he does it a third time, I'll say to him, "Finn, that's really hurting mama, I will not let you hurt me." And that's a really powerful phrase in gentle parenting, is "I will not let you." And I will explain that I will give this toy back later, but for now we're gonna play with her, and then redirect them to that softer toy if needs be. Because as the anchor for our kids experiencing these big emotions, how can they be grounded and know how to process these sorts of big emotions if all they see us doing is snapping and reacting in major ways? The fifth principle is be unplugged. Give your child attention. So many times as a parent, especially as a mom of 4, there are many times where I am busy, and I think in today's society it's a badge that we seem to wear is how busy we can be. Our kids don't want us to be busy, and there are some times where we need to think about what we're doing, and can we either invite the child to do it with us, or can we stop that activity for a little bit and go watch them or play with them or just be with them. My 20-month-old son will constantly be underfoot if I am dinner prepping, and many times I will end up running a sink full of water and he will have a good old time doing some wet water play while I am cooking. My 4-year-old loves to be very helpful, and she's learning to do more chores now because she just wants to be with me. So she's learning to pack the dishwasher and load the washing machine, and it's great to have company. When our kids have decided to put on a dance concert for us, if what we are doing is not urgent, then yes, we're going to pause it and go be with them and make those good quality memories. It is fantastic to reconnect and form that relationship and not just parent by teaching. And it really does help your relationship. It gives you those fond memories and shows the kids that they are important. The sixth principle is self-care. In order to do gentle parenting, it's really important that you are looking after yourself. And this isn't extravagant things that you need to be doing, but it's just the ability to regulate oneself. Whether that means that every day you go out and you have some play in the sunshine, go for a walk and just be in nature because that helps you, do it. If it means that you are putting some screen on for the kids and maybe they're watching Daniel Tiger, which is a great social emotional television show for little kids, and you're having a cup of coffee and maybe a sweet treat, if that helps you with self-care, then do it. So often we put ourselves last and then we wonder why we're constantly snapping at our kids, constantly feeling big emotions ourselves and not enjoying life. And that's because there's no balance to the give and take. Like I said, I am definitely not perfect. I am highly emotional and I feel emotions big, and I think that's the reason why my kids feel them so big. So putting this practice into play really is helping all of us in forming better relationships, enjoying life, and hopefully it's going to help us when the kids are older, because when they're feeling those bigger emotions, they know that we're going to be a safe place. They know that we're not going to judge them, and if anything, we're going to be able to help them through those tricky times. So if you've liked this video, please give it a thumbs up because it really does support my channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe and tap that bell so you get notified when we upload every Monday and Thursday, because this parenting gig, it doesn't come with a rule book. We only have each other, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.